The scenes on the train are some of the most humanizing because you do see how he so desperately just wants to be a normal person. Sometimes he doesn't always want to be hounded, but then at the same time, he wants the fame, he likes the fame, he wants to be remembered. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the FilmBudsPodcast. This is episode number 598, and my name is Henry. This time around, I'm going to be doing a bit of a George Clooney special, and just in case you did not see it, a few months ago I did a George Clooney directed movie collection talking about his 5 most recent directed films, so check that out if you've not already. This one I decided to do because I was just trying to find something fairly new, stuff that went under the radar a little bit, and I thought of J. Kelly, which came out on Netflix in December, and then decided to do a retro review of Wolves with Clooney and Brad Pitt, which is a Apple TV Plus original, plus other stuff I watched. So should be a great time. As always, rate, review, subscribe, like, follow, share all the things with everybody you know, and thank you to all of our new subscribers, listeners, viewers. Hope you'll stick around and check us out on YouTube if you're not already there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into J. Kelly. And do have a clip, so take a listen.
J. Kelly. J. Kelly. J. Kelly. And action. J. Kelly.
J. Kelly is a hero of cinema.
J. Kelly.
What do you say to people who say you only play yourself?
I think what you do is magic.
You know how difficult it is to be yourself? You try it.
You make movies. That's what the world wants from you.
Is it J. Kelly?
You're never alone.
Really? I think I'm always alone.
All right, so as I said, J. Kelly is a Netflix original, came out in late 2025, directed by Noah Baumbach, co-written by him as well, along with actress Emily Mortimer, who's been in Shutter Island and a lot of things. Stars George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Stanley Townsend, Emily Mortimer, Eric Sweeney, Laura Dern, Billy Crudup, and the synopsis is: famous movie actor J. Kelly embarks on a journey of self-discovery, confronting his past and present with his devoted manager Ron, poignant and humor-filled, pitched at the intersection of regrets and glories. I know this one made some rounds at festivals, overall got good reviews, and this is Noah Baumbach's 4th movie with Netflix. He did Marriage Story, The Meyerowitz Stories, White Noise, and then this, so he's been on a pretty good run with them. And overall, I like Noah Baumbach a lot. He's also a great writer. He co-wrote Fantastic Mr. Fox, Barbie, so I always try and watch whatever he produces. I think I'm about on the same page as a lot of people. It's an entertaining movie. It's got a few touching moments, some good humor here and there, but I feel like the last 2 Noah Baumbach movies, this and White Noise, there's just something kind of missing, I find. They feel too long, oftentimes a little too messy, overly slow for what the story warrants. Marriage Story is still by far his best movie to date. And in terms of the concept of the movie, I don't really have an issue about watching movies about rich people who have problems. Like, I don't really get all fussy about that. I know some people do. I could care less. It's just a good movie is a good movie. A bad movie is a bad movie. And it's no doubt that Clooney essentially plays himself. He's an aging movie star who's trying to keep the motor running. He's become a little bitter about the business. Then Adam Sandler is his manager, and they've been together for pretty much his whole career. I think one of the most interesting segments, and it's small, but I think it's very memorable, is the scenes with Billy Crudup, who is such a great character actor. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit. He feels very, very unique in all of his movies, very nuanced, and he's great in this. He is this not really famous actor or still trying to be an actor, and before George Clooney blew up at all, he and Billy Crudup were friends. Billy Crudup had a audition for something. He kind of botched it, and then they said to J. Kelly, hey, why don't you read for this part instead? And he got it, and that's where it launched him. So for all these years, Billy Crudup has had this long resentment for him because it's like, that should have been me. You stole my role. You stole my fame. And end of the day, and the movie gets into this, is Hollywood is so unpredictable. Fame is often luck. You never know what role is going to get you into the door. You don't know which person you meet is going to help you. With his daughter, she's trying to make her own way. She doesn't just want to follow in George Clooney's footsteps and essentially be a Nepo baby, as well as the fact that through most of her childhood, he was always going to movie sets, and so he missed a lot of that, and she's not really interested in doing that for herself and for a future family. Adam Sandler, love him across the board, and this is one of those movies, just as he showed in the Meyerowitz stories, he has a great dramatic skill to acting. He's not just a goofball. I actually think he's the best part of this movie, performance-wise. Everybody is good, but I think he by far had the most to do and had the most range. And minor spoilers here, just warning. Towards the end, there is this kind of breakup between him and Clooney being the asshole that he is in this. He basically says, you had this career because of me. You would be nothing without me. I'm the star. And there's those allusions to, no, we're just business partners. We're not friends. Patrick Wilson comes in towards the end, and there's that dynamic between him, Clooney, and Sandler when Patrick Wilson says to Sandler, or he says to Clooney, I need a manager who doesn't need looking after. And I guess that speaks to the job is you really need to be committed 110% to that star because you're pretty much doing everything for them. And if you don't have your life together, the star may drop you because of that, because they need it, because they're so vain and needy in some ways. The ending montage where it actually shows a collection of George Clooney's actual movies, I think really, really works. And that final scene of him kind of being happy, kind of being sad, the good, the bad, wanting to do it all over again. So it's a nice homage to a great movie star. And I think he's a great actor too. 3.5 out of 5. All right, well, let's get to the retro review, which is Wolves, and we do have a clip as well, so take a listen.
How did you get this number?
I was told that if I ever needed help, to call you. You're a man who can fix things. I didn't know people like you really existed.
They don't. There's nobody who can do what I do.
Who are you?
I'm here to take care of your problem. Who called you?
All right, Wolves, like I said, is a Apple TV Plus original. Came out in 2024, written and directed by John Watts, who also did the Marvel Spider-Man trilogy with Tom Holland, all three. Stars Clooney, Brad Pitt, Amy Ryan, Austin Abrams, not really a huge cast otherwise. And the synopsis is, two rival fixers cross paths when they're both called in to help cover up a prominent New York official's misstep. Over one explosive night, they'll have to set aside their petty grievances and their egos to finish the job. I only got around to seeing this one about a year ago, maybe. Had heard decent things, and like I said in my first Letterboxd review, this is the kind of film that would only do well on streaming. If it came out in theaters, I can pretty much guarantee almost no one would see it, despite the big stars. And that's okay. There's a lot of movies that are being made now for streaming, which are great, or at least enjoyable, that would otherwise not be made before streaming. So that's fine with me. Didn't know much about the story other than kind of action, comedy, thriller. And overall, I enjoyed it. It's nothing amazing for sure, but you can just throw it on, look up every now and then, or pay attention to it the whole time. Maybe that sounded mean, but it's simple. It looks good. It's well acted. Brad Pitt and George Clooney have been in past movies together, but they're both very, very high on charisma and chemistry, so they work great together. It has that cool 80s retro feel, almost like Person versus the World, Person on the Run. Clooney is hired by Amy Ryan, who's a district attorney, and there's this kid in her room that she needs to get rid of. And then Pitt enters and they reluctantly join forces, even though they're both loners. They like to be by themselves when they work. The kid escapes from the trunk when they put him there, and also getting out of the hotel, I think, is hilarious, and how they do that, very clever. But it all leads to this chase throughout the city. And like I was saying about the look of it, I think despite the entire movie taking place at night, it looks fantastic. Like, the cinematography is beautiful. The snow, the lights all throughout the city. So that definitely helped keep me more interested, because there are points that do become a little too familiar, kind of predictable. Thankfully, it's not too long, so that helps. And there were a few twists that I didn't totally see coming. One thing about this kind of movie is I do understand why big stars like to do these, because they're pretty easy to make. Actors like Clooney and Pitt, I think they got paid around $30 million each, because since this wasn't released in theaters, they're not getting the royalty back end. So they usually will get paid even more for movies that go straight to streaming. Very solid soundtrack and score. And I'm sure it was nice for John Watts to do a much more low-key movie like this, less studio-based than it was to do those massive Spider-Man films for so long. There's really nothing inherently wrong or offensive about it. It is what it is, for better and for worse. Heavy 3 out of 5. All right, let's end off with some stuff I watched recently. I watched The Accountant 2 for the first time just in the last few days. Saw the first one back when it came out. Mainly watched this one for Jon Bernthal, who I love across the board. I know some people love this. I guess you could call it a franchise now, but I think both movies are at about the same level. They're okay. They're watchable. They're entertaining, but that's about it. I don't think they're nearly as good as Jason Bourne or James Bond, John Wick. But this had good action, fairly interesting plot. I liked the buddy comedy feel between Bernthal and Affleck. And maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like the accent Ben Affleck is doing in this one is more put on, more noticeable than the first. And I don't know how I feel about it. It feels a little off. I don't even know exactly what he's trying to do with it. I watched Magazine Dreams, starring I guess he's canceled, Jonathan Majors. And it's a mix between, I would say, Taxi Driver and Love Lies Bleeding. It's about this very awkward, sort of self-abusive bodybuilder who wants nothing more than to be the next magazine cover for all the fitness magazines and be the biggest there is, be the most successful there is. But it's mainly about him mentally declining and making his situation worse and worse. This is probably one of the only Jonathan Majors movies that I've really liked him in. I think he's fantastic in this. And not just emotionally, I mean, even physically, it's pretty insane to witness. But I think it's commentary on people having body dysmorphia and just never being pleased, even when it comes to bodybuilding and just having to get more and more, bigger and bigger. I watched for the first time Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was a Best Picture winner a few years ago. It has a huge following on Letterboxd. Crazy take. I already had some hate on Letterboxd for it. I was not a fan of this movie, pretty much at all. I thought it was so overdone. I understand the title of the movie. I get it. But I found it to be so confusing, could not tell you what happened or why at almost any point. I found it to be so overcooked to the point of annoyance. Yeah, it has a cool genre blending feel, and I like how ambitious it is, but it was so long, it felt like 4 hours. I could not wait for it to be over. I thought all the performances were good, and I thought it looked good, good soundtrack and score, all that, but as just a narrative was just totally checked out. And I know I'm in the minority for that, but sorry, not sorry. I watched the new recent film Dead Man's Wire, starring Bill Skarsgård and directed by Gus Van Sant, who did Good Will Hunting and Milk, amongst many others. This is a true story of a guy in the 70s who took this insurance guy hostage because he felt ripped off by the company, and he put this, they call it a dead man's switch, where it's basically a shotgun pointed right at his face and this wire contraption around his neck, and if he moves too much, it'll instantly fire. And it mostly takes place in the guy's apartment. So it's very low key. It feels very understated. It's not this loud action film like maybe some expect. I love Bill Skarsgård. I think he's one of the most interesting actors, younger actors working right now. He's fantastic in it, and everybody else is good. It looks good, feels very 1970s authentically. I don't think it's anything amazing. Like, there weren't a lot of really wow standout moments, but if you like anything dealing with bank robberies or heists or hostage kidnapping films, I think it's worth a watch. And lastly, I rewatched 127 Hours with James Franco, the Danny Boyle film about the true story of the guy who got trapped under a rock while he was hiking, biking out in this big nature preserve area. And eventually, after being there for days, he had to cut off his own arm. It's just an insane story. The scenes with the actual arm cutting are brutal to watch, as you can imagine. It's one of James Franco's best. I think it's still one of Danny Boyle's best, too. It's not one that you want to just pop on too often. It's not a lazy Sunday movie, but if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. Well, I think that is about it for the show. Got plenty of great content coming, so keep an eye out for all of that. Like, review, rate, subscribe, all that stuff. As I said at the beginning, please do, and thank you all for being here. Thank you to our new listeners, and hope you enjoyed it even half as much as I did, and I'll see you next time, y'all.